friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today we're going to talk about the 25 books that I plan on definitely reading in 2025. Okay, I have a huge stack on my lap and a huge stack next to me, so we're just going to rapid fire through these. A lot of these are more recent releases. A lot of these are books that have been on my shelves for years and years, and if I don't get to it this year, I have to get rid of them off my shelves. So let's rapid fire through these and let's get into it. Okay, the first one is going to be Spice Road by Miana Abraham. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I do apologize. This is a YA book. Now, I'm trying to purge a lot of YA books off my shelves, but this was one I was pretty hyped for. It came out early, I think 2023, I believe, and it's just been sitting on my shelves. It's a, let's see, 2023? Yep, 2023 release. So basically this one is about spice magic and a 17-year-old girl who basically has to strike a deal with a council to help find her brother, I think. Yeah, action-packed fantasy. I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. Let's see if I get to it and I finish it in 2025. Next, let's talk about something like Gravity. This is Amber Smith. Again, this is a YA release. I'm really trying to get through my YA books that are on my shelves just to make room for new releases, things that I haven't quite, or more for things I haven't aged out of. I just feel like when I read YA, I just feel like I'm too old for it now. I'm 31, almost 32 years old. I'm like double the age of some of these characters and it shows when I read it. I just can't relate to the characters as much anymore. So I want to try and phase out a lot of my YA books. So this year is the year that I'm hopefully going to read a lot of them, get them off my shelves, hopefully find ones that I enjoy, but that's the purpose for a lot of these as well. So this one essentially follows Chris and Maya, who basically meet when they first crash into a road, and essentially their neighbors can't seem to get away from each other. And then Chris has come out as transgender, but he's processing a frightening assault from surviving the year before. So I think it's kind of like complicated relationship dynamics, probably dealing with trauma. I feel like this one's going to be a little bit heavy, but I'm very excited about it. We'll see what happens. Next, again, another YA book. This one is The Last Shadow Warrior by Sam Sublety. This again was another one that came out in 2023. Very excited to read. I'm excited to see what happens with this one. This is basically, I think actually is a middle grade, because this one follows Abby, who's 12 years old and wants to become part of a line of Viking warriors, and she, let's see, wants to go to, oh, she ends up going to a magic school in Minnesota. So I think this one will be interesting. I might end up doing this one for middle grade March. We'll see what happens with that, but I am excited about this one. It does look really cute. I love the cover art, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if this one is YA or not, but this is one, again, that's been on my shelves for forever, and I've yet to try something from Cynthia Hand. I have so many of her books on my shelves. I need to read them. This is The Last Time We Say Goodbye by Cynthia Hand. And this one basically follows a girl whose brother commits suicide and basically her just dealing with the trauma of her grief. I think this one's going to be super heavy. I've had this one on my to be read list for years. I've had this one on my shelves for forever. I just need to get to it. I know it's going to be heavy, but I just have a feeling I'm really going to like it and it's going to be really good. So yeah, I want to get to this one. Next, another one that's been on my shelves for forever. This is Passing by Nellie Larson. This essentially follows, I believe, two sisters, one that can pass as white and one that is basically, oh yeah, just as light-skinned, but chooses to remain within the African-American community. So yeah, basically I think it's two friends. Yeah, childhood friends, and just kind of their way of moving about the world. It's really short, seems pretty quick read. I know they made a Netflix show about it, and I've had this one again for a very long time on my shelves and just want to get to it, get it off my shelves, find out if it's as good as everyone says, so we'll find out what happens with that. Another one that's been on my shelves for forever, that's a big theme of a lot of these. This one is Almond by Wan-Fu Jean. This is essentially following a guy who's got a brain condition that makes it hard for him to feel emotions like fear or anger. Basically trying to deal with isolation. He makes a new friend. So yeah, I just heard really good things about this. I picked this up years ago and just, I think had a challenge or made a video about it in a book haul of like I was gonna read it by the end of the year, and I definitely did not. So a lot of these are part of that haul as well too, because I need to read them. But yeah, this is what this one is, and I'm hoping that I love it. Next, this of course is one that everyone is obsessed with. This is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I just hear incredible things about this. I think they're actually turning this into a Netflix show with Sydney Sweeney, I think. Could be mistaken by that. It could already be a show. I'm terrible at keeping up with what shows are coming out. But basically this one follows a girl who cleans the Winchester's house. She picks up their daughter. And then I'm trying to think. I think it's like she's learning the family secrets or like what she's capable of. I don't know. It seems creepy. I'm trying to read more thrillers in the year, so I think this one is going to be a very good one. Next, let's do Breathing Room by Marcia Hales. This is about a girl who's 13 who arrives with trying to be treated with tuberculosis. Basically ends up meeting other girls in her ward, set in the 1940s. I just think this one will be really cute. This might be a middle grade March read just because the age of it is younger. But yeah, I think this one will be really good. Again, books that I've just had on my shelves for forever, ones that are a little different from what I've been reading the last couple years because I've been so heavy in the fantasy and romantasy kind of categories. I just want more slice of life. I feel like my book, like reading the last few years has been missing that, so definitely want to get back into that a little bit more. Yet, as I say that, we now switch into fantasy. So this is The Starlit Woods. This is a book, again, I've had for forever. This is a rewrite of fantasy stories and fairy tales. It's got Seanan McGuire, Jeffrey Ford, Naomi Novak, Marjorie Liu, Garth Nix, and more. Basically, it's just a, what are these called? Oh my gosh, collection. There's a word, anthology of like 18 different stories, and I just think it's going to be really good and just transformative, and I just love the cover and I think it's going to be great. So I'm excited for this one. Another fantasy one that is very beloved here on the internet. This is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I really want to finish and read this series this year. I think there's a third one coming out this year if I'm not mistaken. And this one just, I don't know, there's something about this that I just know I'm really going to enjoy. And yeah, this is by Heather Fawcett. It's basically about a girl who's trying to categorize experts on fairies, and I think it's going to be really good. Books and Lala was talking about this one and she really loved it, so I'm excited to check this one out. Next, another fantasy. I'm so excited for this one. This one actually came out last year. This is by S.A. McLean. This is The Phoenix Keeper. This one basically is a head phoenix keeper at a world-renowned zoo for magical creatures. I'm very excited about this one. It's basically talking about a conservation effort, and yeah, there's something about this. I think there's going to be a little bit of romance in it. This one just speaks to me on such a deep level that I'm very excited for this one. So yeah, I was excited for this one. I found out it was coming out last year, and I just think it's going to be great. So I'm very, very excited for this one. Another fantasy that's a classic, one that's been on my shelves forever. You guys know how much I love a dragon book. This is, of course, Seraphina by Rachel Hartman. This one is about a girl who's half dragon, descended from a dragon mother who took human form. And basically she's trying to guard her true nature, basically end up trying to protect her secret of being part dragon. I think I read this when I was younger. I don't remember. There was a Seraphina book I feel like that came out years ago that I'm trying to remember that was a dragon book. I don't know if it's the same. Someone let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, I think this one's going to be really good, and I love a dragon book. Can't go wrong. Okay, now let's lean a little bit more into some other fantasy. Again, very popular. This is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is, of course, a very beloved book series here on YouTube as well. This is essentially about greenbone warriors who use magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the island of Kikon from foreign invasion. Now, a new generation vies for control in the bustling capital city. They must prepare for battle, and a fragile peace between the clans is about to break. I've heard this is incredible. I've heard this is amazing. I've never read anything from Fonda Lee before. I'm excited for it. Sci-fi. Let's switch gears a little bit. The Martian. Again, I'm trying to just get to books that are like classic, beloved. I was really good about reading my backlist last year, and I just read some of the gems, and they were gems for a reason. Like, I just feel like there's certain books that stand the test of time, and I know this is one of them. This, of course, is about an astronaut who becomes one of the first people to walk on Mars, and then he finds himself stranded on Mars' surface with no way to get home. So I think this is really interesting. I've never seen the movie, never read the book. I'm very excited about this one. I actually really love a sci-fi spacey book every once in a while, and I know this one is one of the best, so I'm excited for it. All right, last no, there's more romantasy coming, what am I saying? But this one is, of course, again, another classic that is well beloved here on the internet. This is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is, of course, let's see, I think I like Persephone and Hades retelling, if I'm not mistaken, to be honest. I know this one's so beloved, but I know really nothing about it. I know it's a solid romantasy type of book. Jennifer L. Armentrout is quite beloved. Let's see, Fallen Kingdom is rising. Let's see, she is entangled with Hawk, a golden-eyed guard, honor-bound to ensure her ascension. Destiny and duty becomes tangled with desire and need. Ooh, tempting. So yeah, I think this one will be good. I'm excited for it. We'll see what happens. Okay, one again that I've had on my shelves forever. I think this one's a little bit more sci-fi minded. This is The Gender Game by Bella Forrest. This is one that essentially where the lands are split between male and female. No crossover between the two. It's very segregated, and a girl basically has to, let's see, prisoner to her own nation. She's now been sentenced to death for her crimes. Let's see, she's thrust into a game more unpredictable than she could have imagined. Forbidden Love. I think it's going to be very interesting. This is a whole series. I've had this on my shelves, I think, since 2016, almost 10 years. It's time to read it, figure out what it's about. I'm excited for it. Okay, another sci-fi style book. I got this from Owl Crate, like back in the day. This was one of the OG Owl Crate books. This is by Emily Suveda. I've had this again as a book to read on my list for forever. This one essentially is sci-fi where, let's see, Katerina is a hacker. People are implanted with technology to recode their DNA, allowing to change their bodies however they want, and Kat happens to be a gene hacking genius. Her father has been killed. It's a YA. She's trying to figure out what happened to her father. There's a soldier. Can she trust him? I think it's going to be good. I know it's a whole series. I've been trying to read this one for years. This is the year we're going to do it. Okay. Now let's talk about one that has been on my read to be read for the year video challenge for years. Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. This book, I think, has been on every single one of my I'm going to read it this year challenge videos since the beginning of these videos I've made on this channel. If I do not read this book by the end of this year, I need to unhaul it. It's basically about a girl who writes a story, and then the story is within the story, the black parts. So if I don't finish this one by the end of this year, I have to get rid of it. I've had it on my shelves forever, almost a decade. It needs to happen. No excuses. Okay, rapid firing through some more fantasy. This is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel and final in the duology for the, what is this one called? Oh my gosh, why can't I remember the first one? I can't remember what the first one is called. I'll put the title here below. But basically this one is about two people who fall in love that have magical typewriters. They send letters back and forth to each other. And I loved it. It was very different than what I was expecting, but I liked it a lot. This is, of course, the duology. The first one left off on quite a cliffhanger, and I'm very excited to see where this one goes. Oh wait, the first one was called, Divine Rivals. It's literally right there on my shelves. So this is the sequel to Divine Rivals. I'm excited to read this one, see what happens with it, and yeah, I think it's going to be really, really good. Let's talk about this one. This book came out in 2000 and when did this come out? When did this book come out? I don't know. This one I think came out in 2015. This might be wrong. I might be lying. This one has come out for a while. This I think is the oldest book on my shelves that I have not read yet. If I don't read this by the end of this year, it needs to be put away. It needs to be donated. It needs to be taken off my shelves. I can't do another year of having this be on this list. So hold me accountable. Keep me honest. We're going to do a mid-year check-in on this to see how many of these I've read so far. If this book is not on that list by June of this year, we're going to have some questions. We're going to have some issues. It needs to be read. So, Replica by Marie Laura. This is the one that's like the 2-in-1, that like you switch it and it's two sisters. And I think it's experimental subjects manage to escape. They meet a stranger named Gemma, who's embarking on a perilous quest of her own. These stories mirror each other. They contain breathtaking revelations critically important to each other's story. Can be read opposite or in alternating chapters. I will figure out how I want to best read this. I'm very excited about it. It's going to happen this year. Okay. Let's talk about Elizabeth Lim's Her Radiant Curse. I did not realize that this was a part of the Six Crimson Cranes story. This essentially follows her stepmother and her stepmother's sister. I'm very excited to read this one. I really love this edition. I think whoever does Elizabeth Lim's covers are beautiful for the UK editions. The US, not so much, but I love the UK editions. So I'm really hoping I like this. I did end up reading The Dragon's Promise, which is the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes, and it was fine. I did like Six Crimson Cranes a lot more, so I'm hoping that I enjoy this, but this is essentially sort of a standalone, sort of part of that whole world. I think if you read those two, from what I've heard, this gives a lot more context, so I'm excited about that. And also, the covers are just beautiful. Okay. More romantasy, because again, I can't get enough. This is, of course, Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This, I think, is a werewolf romance. I'm not quite sure. I've heard it's spicy. I've never read any Ali Hazelwood. I know she's a very beloved romance author. I know she's also starting to dabble in more of the mythology, romantasy, fantasy world. I've just heard good things about this. I think it's going to be a little spicy. I think it's going to be a little sexy, and I'm excited for it. So, we'll see how it goes. Another fantasy. I don't know if this is, I think this is romance. This is The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Dirts. This is a witch that, oh no, librarian at the Great Library. She and her assistant spent the last decade sequestered among the Empire's most prestigious spell books, preserving their magic for the city's elite. I think this is going to be super cute. I think it's going to be cozy. I think it's going to be adorable. I'm so excited. There's also I don't know if it's a sequel, but another book in this series coming out later this year. So I really, 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 really want to read this before that one comes out. I have a good feeling about this one. I don't know what it is. I have a good feeling about it. I think I'm going to love it. Okay. Do we see how many tabs are on some of these? This is how many times I've tabbed this one to like read it this year and just never do. So, The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X. Arpan. This again was a book that came out in I got this in 2018. I've had this book for almost 10 years, give or take. I have to read this book this year. I know this one is about a girl that's battling grief. I think she lost her mother and her mother returns to her in the form of a crane. Yeah, her mom commits suicide. This is actually a signed edition. I got this from Owlcrate. Like, I need to read this book. I need to. So, yes, all that being said, I need to read this book. I need to enjoy it. I need to consume it. I know that I will have a hard time with some of these books this year because they deal with some grief and heavier topics, but I think it will be a good time to do it. I think last year would have been a little bit too hard for certain reasons, but I think this year, I don't know. I feel ready for it. So, we're doing it. It's happening. Okay. And last but not least, the last book that I'm going to desperately try to read, along with all of my other 600 plus unread books on my shelves, is The Ladies of the Secret Circus by Constance Sayers. This to me gives Carnival vibes, which is also one that I would love to read this year. Carnival, whichever one that one is, by Stephanie Garber. This one essentially follows Paris 1925, a world in which women weave illusions of magnificent beasts, carousels that take you back in time, and trapeze artists that float across the sky. It also follows Virginia in 2004, where Laura Barnes is on top of the world until her fiancé disappears on their wedding day. When her desperate search for answers unexpectedly leads her to her great-great-grandmother's journals, Laura is swept into a story of a dark circus and an ill-fated love. I love a duology, not a duology, like a dual storyline when it's like past and future and you kind of learn things together as the current like timeline does. So I hope that's what this has. I think this one's going to be good. I think this one's going to be great. I think the cover is beautiful. I love a circus story so much. So yes, I'm very excited for it. All right, friends, that is the 25 books that I would love, 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 love to get to in 2025. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any in particular you're excited to see me read. Of course, I'll be doing wrap-ups, TBRs, different things like that throughout the year. So let me know what you're excited for, as well as any books you're super excited to read in 2025. Love to chat with you down in the comments. But yeah, other than that, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to see more of my face, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!